Welcome to the CEO's blog for this week, and unfortunately, or as usual, we'll start with the COVID-19 pandemic. Nothing too much has changed, but I would like to thank all participants, be they trainers, drivers, owners, especially the club officials, for following the protocols we have in place. How long this is going to go on for, I'm not sure, but one point that is on in focus is the regional boundaries. The Canberra and Goulburn clubs made a submission to Harness Racing New South Wales. It's being considered at the moment, just in respect of the people who train at those two tracks. So we'll work through that and hope we can come to some sort of resolution which is practical to introduce and suits as many participants as possible. But whilst we're on COVID, it's interesting to note, and I watched a race from Dubbo last week, the compliance of owners standing round the fence watching their horses compete. A big thank you to you people and to all the other people out there, as I said, who are complying with these protocols. Today, Harness Racing New South Wales will pay to the Australian Taxation Office $1.5 million on behalf of owners for historic drivers' superannuation guarantee payments. These payments date back to 2009. A recent federal court ruling made it that drivers are entitled to superannuation if they're eligible under the superannuation guarantee conditions. Harness Racing New South Wales, on behalf of the owners, has been paying the superannuation guarantee since 2016. So this is an extension. As I say, $1.5 million has been found out of the industry fund to make that payment on behalf of the owners to the drivers, the eligible drivers. We're moving into the Breeders' Challenge now, and only next week, Monday, the nominations will close for the first heats of the 2-year-old series. I say again and again, if you have any concerns with the conditions, and when I mean concerns, I mean understanding what opportunities are there for you, reach out to Sean Snudden and see where we go. There are opportunities, albeit very slight, but there are opportunities that you may be able to race outside of your region if those circumstances arise. So take the opportunity, talk to Sean, and certainly make every post a winner as you can. And we look forward to this postponed series, which now will be finally off the ground. Talking about Breeders' Challenge, there is one thing that many people have asked for is, will there be additional heats? Of course, there can be additional heats, but there is an impact if there are. If there are more than the 12 heats that we plan, say 16, that means that those 16 horses will be eligible to renominate for the semi-finals. That also means that there will only be 4 other spots available in the semi-finals. So it's a balancing act that Harness Racing New South Wales has to go through. We have to provide opportunities, and we will provide opportunities, but there is a downside to that in every respect. Yesterday, trainers would have received an alert from Sean Snudden with regard to the handicapping and programming guidelines. What we have before you for comment is potential changes that could come in place. Basically, the handicapping programming guidelines are the same as what we're currently using, but what we're looking at is potentially splitting trainer doubles where that can be possible. So have a look at that. We don't do that at the moment, so have a look at that and see how you feel about that, and also the intention to hand back to the clubs in the regions the opportunity to program the races themselves, of course, within the guidelines of Harness Racing New South Wales. So please, you have until August 14 to respond to Sean Snudden, so take this opportunity. It's too late after the fact once we move forward on these. At the Harness Racing New South Wales board meeting yesterday, one of the items that the board carefully looked at was the differentiation in prize money between A and B category meetings. Very complex issue, very interesting results, but what Harness Racing New South Wales will be doing with that is going out direct to owners to give them the results and get a better feel of where they wish to go with it. Of course, we will engage with other industry bodies, the clubs, and HIRIC in this journey as we find what is the correct levels of prize money to be distributed at A meetings or B meetings. So that's a work in progress. We don't see any urgency with it at the moment, until at least COVID-19 pandemic is quelled to a certain extent. So that'll be coming out to you very shortly. Take the opportunity, as I say, when the opportunity is given to you, always make a comment if you have a comment. Wagga commenced our highlights package for this week last Friday afternoon, where backbencher for Matt Harris was again a winner, whilst Trevor White's 2-year-old Defiant will make his presence felt in the Breeders' Challenge. Kim Hillier landed a double and Tom Prest was back winning after his recent fall at Leeton. At Newcastle, Gemma Coney landed her first double, Gemma being a graduate of the mini trot movement, and both horses were trained by Clayton Harmey. Interestingly, Gemma was also the owner of Brittany Jane, her second winner. Tom Ison also started a great week when landing a double at Newcastle. Craig Ison and Luke McCarthy landed a treble at Tabcorp Park Menangle, headed by King of Swing in 148.8, whilst Kerry Ann Morris and Josh Gallagher teamed up for a double. Bernie Hewitt and Doug Hewitt's trip from Bathurst was worthwhile when Let's Catch Me If You Can won for owners Johnny Star Racing. The win was Doug's first Metropolitan victory. Doug backed up at Dubbo the next afternoon and landed a treble, including Breeders' Challenge bound Rock Fisherman in Extremely Slick 157.7. Maddie Young also landed her first winner, Alia's Choice, which he also drove. Craig Cross and Luke McCarthy landed a double at Menangle on Tuesday, and Kerry Ann and Robbie Morris did likewise. Craig Cross has now trained 200 winners for the season, an outstanding effort. Cameron Hart landed his century of winners for the season when Arrow Keith won at the same meeting for trainer-owner Jason Grimson. There were different trainers and drivers for all races at Young on Tuesday night, and it was pleasing to see Neil Day win following his temporary move to the Rim Arena in what was a very interrupted opening race on the program. Harness Racing New South Wales is following up on the concerns expressed with the start. Bathurst on Wednesday night, Bernie Hewitt's week continued, where he trained a treble with I'm on a Joyride, Make Mine Heaven and Ulan Banter, whilst Dougie Hewitt drove the latter two of these and Bernie the first. Bernie also trained 2 second-placed horses, including the Quinella in the 2-year-old race. At Tamworth yesterday afternoon, Tom Ison had a driving treble to really continue his week, whilst Aaron Goadsby, Tony Misson and Roy Roots both trained doubles. And around the week out last night, Cameron Hart really capped it off with a treble and Will Rickson had a double. They're the highlights of the week. A great week of racing, and we look forward to yet another great week of racing coming ahead. All credit must go to the New South Wales Breeders' Association with their Local Supporting Locals promotion. When you can tender for a service to any one or all of these extremely well-credentialed colonial stallions. Bling It On, Franco Nelson, Jillaby Kung Fu, Poster Boy, Renaissance Man, Soho Tribeca, The Storm Inside, Yankee Rockstar. All Group 1 winning horses with exceptional talent and what can only be described as an outstanding lineup of stallions. I suggest you visit the Harness Breeders website for further details. Resultant foals by the New South Wales-based Colonial Stallions will also receive a $500 Colonial bonus, as well as be eligible for a $3,000 winning True Blue bonus if the mare is based in New South Wales. No other state offers these bonuses. Also, the Pink Diamond for 3-year-old fillies, which is sponsored by the New South Wales Breeders' Association, will be run at Tabcorp Park tomorrow night. Another great initiative. All compliments must go to Flora Robson and her hard-working committee for having these initiatives. And as I said, have a look at their website. If you're looking for information on breeding in New South Wales, that is the place to go. And to close the blog this week, I recognise that Todd McCarthy has ventured off to the United States. Well done, Todd. Well deserved after a fantastic season and, of course, for the last few years. You've got to put your foot in the water at some time, and if you can emulate what your brother Andy has done over there, Todd, you will be a sensation. One of the most remarkable young men that harness racing can have, always willing to assist administrators, always very, very polite and helpful to owners and trainers. Todd, we wish you all the best. When you come back safe, but if you don't come back, once again, have a wonderful time in the United States. That's it for the blog this week. There'll be more next week. watch out for that alert. That's the trainer's alert. Next week we'll be sending something out to the owners. Be part of our industry, contribute when you've got the opportunity to put something in writing and come back to us. Have a wonderful week, as I say. Enjoy your harness racing, and I hope everybody has the successes they're looking for.